Welcome to the podcast. Today's guest is Craig from Rigworx. Craig, welcome.
Oh yeah, how are we doing?
Yeah, good, thank you, mate. Thanks for coming on. Sort of sunny outside. Is that what the weather's like where you are? Is it all bright and sunny there still?
It's lovely, yeah. Clear blue skies.
Yeah. I've been for my walk, my allocated exercise. Right, if we have a bit of an intro to you, give us a bit of backstory about you, and then we can sort of lead on to how Rigworx was born, and we can go from there.
Yeah. Just not really much to talk about, to be honest. I'm a contracted electrician. I've been fishing all my life. Started taking carp fishing seriously for the last 5 to 6 years. But I've always been fishing all my life. Caught carp before. Just loved fishing growing up ever since I was about 5 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And I still do love it. I'm quite an active person. I love football. I love all sorts of sports, but fishing is always at the top for me. It's just something I love doing. I love being outdoors, chasing fish around the lake sort of thing.
Yeah. Where did it all start? You said obviously you started actually fishing when you were about 5. How did that all come about?
So my dad, I've come from quite a hard-working family, old-fashioned. And my dad brought a caravan, and that was sort of his retreat after a hard, stressful week. He owned his own garage.
Yeah.
So the caravan in the spring and the summer was like a retreat. And most weekends we'd go away in the caravan. And my dad met some friends. They used to go fishing a lot. And like I said, from about 5 years old, I just had a rod in my hand and I'd spend the whole weekend fishing from about 5 in the morning until I got told to go to bed sort of thing.
Brilliant.
Yeah, so really that's where most of my fishing has taken place is one place. I used to fish the River Ouse a lot at a place called Emberton Country Park.
Right.
It's in Olney, not far from Milton Keynes and Newport Pagnell.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, last summer, Alan Blair put one on his Snapchat story. He caught a £30 common in the edge at the lake. But that's where I first sort of got a glimpse of carp and carp anglers and really wanted to get involved in it, catch a bigger fish sort of thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sort of go for them by design.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you start off on a stick float, don't you, when you're a child?
That's it.
And you sort of work your way up. You think, oh, I want a taste of that, and then it just keeps going and going. It's I call it an addiction, really.
Yeah.
And I think that's what keeps a passion alive.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, I remember like sort of going for roach as a kid initially, and then you hook maybe a slightly better one, and it just goes from there. Don't you think, oh, this pulls back a bit better? Then you maybe get a tench or something like that, and then
Yeah, that's right.
First carp is that game over.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you go for it's exactly the same as that. I used to fish a lake round the corner from me called Stanborough Lakes. It's quite well known.
Mm-hmm.
Nick Hellier visited there recently on Sipography.
Right.
Like I said, it's a well-known carp water, and that's sort of where I've done my first bit of carp fishing and my first taste of catching carp quite regularly. But I used to grow up on the river there as well, on the River Lee, catching chub, big roach on a bit of spam. And when you hook a barbel and it snaps you off or whatever, you're like, bloody hell. And
Yeah.
I've been told by angling coaches, when you take a child fishing, what you want them to do is lose a big fish because the child becomes so inquisitive.
Mm-hmm.
They're just addicted. They need to find out what that was that's just pulled them around the lake and then slip their hook.
Yeah, no, definitely, mate. Yeah, that what if?
Yeah,
Like the one that got away, isn't it?
it's a mystery. Yeah, exactly.
Now, have you got any kids, Craig?
Yeah, I've got 2. I've got a son who's 10 now, and I've got a daughter who's 3.
Right. Does he fish or does she fish?
Yeah, he's pretty much the same as me. He's not really had the advantage of going camping every weekend like I did as a kid. So
Yeah.
it's not in his face as much as it was for me. But he does show interest. It's the same with anything. When you take a child somewhere for the first time, trying to keep them occupied and interested for a period of time, especially which requires concentration and patience, is quite hard. Mm-hmm. But I'm hoping now he's 10, he'll start getting towards 11, 12, 13. He'll be starting to get into it a bit more with me.
No, definitely. I'd imagine, obviously, because Rigworx you sort of do on the side, don't you? You said you're an electrical contractor.
Yeah, so how it came about is I got put on maintenance after Christmas in 2018. We got subcontracted out to Carillion
Right.
to do some maintenance on the site because we was a bit short of work. Quite typical, really, after Christmas, quite a
Yeah.
time of year. I was absolutely bored out of my brains. You're used to firing out work, meeting deadlines all day long. Um, and I was sat in my van and I thought, I've always loved fishing. I'd love to make a bit more money and maybe even make it my full time job, like having my own business. Because I've
Yeah.
grew up in, like I said, I grew up in a family of hardworking men. My granddad had his own business, my great granddad had his own business, and my dad's always had his own business. So it's sort of bred into me. And I thought, why don't I try and make a go of something I love doing? And I thought, I can't go out there and try and be the next Corder because that won't last, or Nash or Fox. So I thought, if I try and make something a bit unique and source good quality tackle and try and sell it
Yeah.
at the lowest possible prices I can do, whilst obviously making myself a living,
Yeah.
then it might be something I enjoy doing. And after a couple of months, this was back in January 2018, I thought of the
Right.
name Rigworx.
Yeah.
As you can imagine, trying to think of a company name or a business name that it works, sort of like the name works and it makes sense. And I was just really, really pleased with the name I'd thought up. And I messaged my mate Jack, Jack Cheshire, that is. He helps me run a lot of Rigworx. He does, like, he's my team coordinator and stuff.
Yeah.
I messaged him and he was like, bloody hell, that's a brilliant name. So I stuck with that, sourced a load of tackle. I was sampling stuff for months.
Yeah. I bet that must be a really long process, getting it, testing it.
Yeah, it's quite costly as well because it's obviously coming from abroad and they'll want you to pay the shipping.
Yeah.
So before you know, you've spent a couple of $100 on shipping and you've got a load of crap, basically.
Yeah.
stuff you're not willing to sell. I mean, there are companies out there that will sell that.
Yeah.
And they sell it cheap as chips, and there's a reason for that. But my aim was to sell top quality tackle at sort of like a medium between everyone else.
Right.
I think we've managed to do that quite well, and we hardly. I don't. Well, to be honest, I can't remember a complaint. It won't be everyone's cup of tea. There are people out there that believe you pay for what you get, and they will pay the top dollar and will go in the tackle shop and pay for everything. Like I said, the top three.
Yeah.
But we have a large customer base now, which everyone loves the stuff. I never get any bad feedback. I get constructive stuff, like people maybe saying, "Could you make the packets larger that the hooks come in and stuff like that?" But nothing that goes against the tackle.
Yeah.
But
And what sort of what is there in the range, just for those people that don't know?
so we sell hooks. We've got quite a large hook range. We've got some tungsten products, which I love. They're the absolute nuts. They're our best sellers. We do your swivels, hair stops. We're currently testing some chod filament, like a stiff hook link,
Right.
as well as braided hook links. So that'll be exciting when we add that to the range.
Yeah.
We've got a few smart things like coloured rig kickers that you can use as part of a Ronnie rig, stuff like that, or use simply just as a kicker on your normal hair rig. Just there's just your normal end tackle bits there, and like I said, we price it as fairly as possible. And like I said, people just keep coming back, and that's what it's always been about for me, really. And I think that that sort of mindset has gone through my whole working career. You keep your customers happy and you offer a good service, they'll always come back, and you build a good relationship. And not only is it satisfying for you, it's satisfying for your customers as well.
Yeah, and they recommend you as well. So it's the best form of marketing, isn't it?
Exactly, yeah. Word of mouth. You can't beat word of mouth.
Yeah, definitely. So do you just sell directly online? Is that how it works?
We did, yeah. For the past couple of years, I mean, I've done everything myself.
Hmm.
Jack's helped me out a bit, like sampling and helping build like a team that obviously do a lot for promotion. We've got a really,
Yeah.
really good team which do a lot to help us promote. And every time we release a new product, they're just on
Yeah.
it and
Hmm.
they get it out there and they help us big time. But yeah, I built a website and everything myself. A lot of long nights.
Yeah.
Um, and then a friend of mine, he used to run Carpdale Fishery. He was like head bailiff at Carpdale. And then he moved on to Twinersh. Uh,
Right.
Ed from NGT Tackle, um, he asked my friend Chris to run Twinersh, and Chris is
Hmm.
an amazing fishery manager. He just gets stuff done, and he knows exactly what he's doing. And he spoke to Ed, and he managed to get some of our stuff in the shop at Twinersh that they were building.
Right.
Because NGT don't focus as much on end tackle now. They do the more like luggage, rods sort of
Hmm.
thing, and bivvies. Um, so yeah, we sell in there now, and I've had a couple of warehouses and stuff like that messaging me, taking interest, and it's sort of going in a direction we want it to go. To be honest,
Yeah. Oh, nice. Does it take a lot of planning to get it to the stage you're at? I mean, I take it there must be a lot of stuff behind the scenes that we don't see, a lot of hiccups and delivery delays and stuff like that.
yeah. I mean, it is a uphill task all the time, and there are some days when you're doing your normal 8 till 5 job. You're thinking, do I really need to be putting up with this? But when I look back at how I started the packaging, the the designs, the pictures we used to put on Instagram, we've come a long, long, long way, and I've learned so much to do with business, marketing, um, even fishing. Like I've learned a lot
Hmm.
about carp fishing through running my own business than I would have done
Yeah.
just being a normal angler before.
Yeah.
And yeah, it does. You get all the products in bulk. You have to package it all out.
Hmm.
Um, I might come home from work and I'm packing orders till 11 o'clock at night sometimes, and then I've got to find time in my lunch break to get to the post office the next day because we pride ourselves on getting your package to you as quick as possible, as well as
Hmm.
good products. And I feel like if I don't get to the post office or get the order out within the next 24 hours, I feel like I'm letting the customers down. Because let's face it,
Mm.
how many times you go fishing and you're like, oh, I need this. So you quickly get something ordered and you want it to arrive as quickly as possible for your session that weekend.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
feel like I owe people that service, even though
Yeah.
some people may say, well, you don't owe anyone that service. But I feel like I said, it's always building a good relationship and it's keeping people happy. But yeah,
No, nice.
there is a lot that goes on behind the scenes, and my partner has to put up with a lot, and I'm in the
Yeah.
living
Yeah.
room sort of thing, packing all gear and stuff like that.
Right.
Yeah, so we're currently looking for a bigger house, and one of my requirements is having my own little outhouse or shed to do
Hmm.
all my stuff. So yeah, there's a
Yeah.
lot that goes on
Well,
behind the scenes.
yeah. I suppose with you being that busy, do you get much time to go out and fish yourself?
Yeah, I mean, my club lake, which is literally I work about 5 miles up the road from my house,
Okay.
75% of the time. We get a lot of work at this place just up the road from my house.
Hmm.
And just between my house and place of work, there's some club lakes which are really quiet. Um,
Hmm.
it's got members on it, and you only get in. It's one of those lakes where you only get in if you know someone there fishing there. It's not on
Yeah.
the website.
Yeah.
There's no publicity. Um, Big lakes, huge lakes, about 4 or 5 lakes, but there's no night fishing. So the sort of style of fishing is either early in the morning
Hmm.
or after work. So that suits me fine. I go down there after work sometimes, and then when I get a run, when I get 2 or 3 sessions, the addiction sort of comes back, and you're squeezing them in whenever
Yeah.
you can.
Yeah. I'm like
Um,
that. It's funny, isn't it? Like now, I'm not really missing it because I know I can't go.
yeah,
So yeah, that's that. But like you say, as soon as I get back out there, I'll be chomping at the bit to get as much time as possible.
exactly. You see people killing themselves on social media at the moment and all these Facebook forums and everything, and you're
Mm.
thinking all you're doing is just torturing yourself.
Yeah.
Just use the time wisely to prep your stuff, tie some rigs, clean your gear, and then when, to be honest, I think a lot of people will find it hard to get on the lakes and canals when the lockdown is relaxed because there's going to be so many people going to the same areas.
Yeah.
You're probably better off leaving it for a couple of weeks to calm
Mm.
down, even though we all don't want to. We all want to get out there
Yeah.
straight away. So,
Yeah. Well, I'm going to be with work. I'm going to be catching up with work and sorting that out. So I probably won't be able to get to go unless it's like a quick overnight after work. But
yeah.
no, it's so have you got like any sort of memorable captures you can share with us?
Yeah, as I said, my fishing time is quite limited. It's either socials with the team that we arrange, which we don't get a lot in, but I always make sure there's one or two every year.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, I mean, the last capture I had was my biggest fish last year, £27, and that was out of my club lake. Really nice common. I've got my friend, my friend. I'm absolutely useless with self takes. I've never ever invested the time or money into perfecting my self takes.
Yeah.
Just about to pack up on my club lake. It was September. I was meant to be building my son's bike that night for his birthday the next day,
Mm-hmm.
so he could wake
Yeah.
up in the morning and see his bike. I said to my
Yeah.
missus, one more hour, one more hour. I thought, I better get home now. It's about 11. Was it?
Right.
No, it was about 10:30. I've
Yeah.
picked one rod up, reeled it in. Next thing you know, I'm fishing up to some snags. Just the bobbins just hit
Yeah.
the blank, and it's just slowly pulling line. I can slowly see the rod bending round. And
Yeah.
I've been battling with this common for quite a while. I knew it was big. You know, when you've got a bigger fish, it's something
Mm.
that sort of hugs the bottom.
Yeah.
And I had an 8 pounder just before that, so I knew it was different.
Mm-hmm.
So I've got the waders on, waded out into the lake up to my knees, and it's just going from snag to snag, to the right, to the left, to the snag on the island in front of me. And I managed to get it in, got it in a retention sling, rung my friend Robbie, and he's kindly come down and to do the pictures. Luckily enough,
Yeah.
brand new fresh white trainers. He's come down to the lake, got them all muddy. I've had to take him to the petrol station after, buy him a drink just to say thank you. But yeah, I would be happy to do a campaign and get my teeth into it, but again, it's having the time and it's also being realistic. Um,
Yeah.
I don't want to gear myself up to something that I can't commit to. I mean, there's
Yeah.
thousands of people across the country that are probably like that. It's shoved in your face, isn't it? In all videos and stuff of dedicated anglers who put that
Mm.
time in. But that they are what they are. They're dedicated anglers, and fair play to them. They make sure they put the time in, and they structure everything around making sure they catch that fish.
Yeah.
So yeah, but that's my most memorable one to date so far and recently.
Yeah. So obviously, with the Rigworx side of things, you mentioned you've got some new products coming up.
Yeah,
How does that come about? Do you see something else and think, "Oh, I could do it a bit better than that," and then sort of research the idea? I mean, what's the thought process behind like the bringing out newer stuff?
yeah. So a lot of the stuff you'll find from suppliers abroad, um, and you either get hold of it or you can get stuff manufactured, which is a very long and expensive process. But sometimes it
Hmm.
needs to be done so that you can have that edge in the market and have
Yeah.
something that's a bit more unique. Um, and it takes a lot of time of browsing and researching stuff to find out, and a lot of conversations back and forth with suppliers and manufacturers. But you
Yeah.
eventually get your hands on it. But I've always done my research in the market to try and find out what sells best and what doesn't, and what it's business sense at the end of the day. You need to
Mm.
find out your best sellers, because there's no point stocking something if one person every 3 months buys it. Um,
Yeah.
it's just doesn't make good sense. But we're getting to that stage now where we've got everything that's popular, everything that everyone's using, everything that's necessary for people to keep in their tackle boxes, and we're getting to that stage where we can start stocking the extra things
Yeah.
that don't sell as well, just so that we're covering everyone. But yeah, we're just always trying to keep up with the current market. I think everyone has to keep up with the top three because they're the ones with the more they're more well known. So they've got the punching power in the market. They've got the money to go and innovate new things, and you're just trying to keep up. And the closer you can keep to them, the better, really. I think a good example is companies like PB. They've started off the same as us, and now they're innovating. They're bringing out their own products. So I think we're getting there. We're making really good progress, and building that customer base sort of thing. And I think
No,
the bigger and better products will come along with it within time.
yeah. What's your long-term plan? Is it to be doing Rigworx as your full-time gig?
I'd like to think so. Yeah. Like I said, I take a day at a time, and that way, because I think what you can do in business, and it's not just this industry, I think it's any industry, you can have a plan, and if it doesn't happen, it can be very dangerous because you start getting upset, you start getting anxious, thinking that your business isn't going where you wanted it to. But if you take a step at a time and keep it sustainable, which is what I'm having to do, as well as having a family and a house to run, keeping everything sustainable and sensible, and it's working, it's growing, it's going in a direction we want. It may not be as fast as some people would like, but it's definitely getting there. We've only been going 2 years, like I mentioned, February 2018. So we're 2 years old, and I think we're getting a presence in the market. But like I said, it's not about the presence in the market. It's about making a business for myself and offering a good service. But like I said, the presence in the market comes with it.
I was just going to say that if you do those bits that you've just said, then you're going to get presence, aren't you, naturally?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And that's what you want. It's not all about fame and being the best brand. Oh, look, we've got this, you haven't got that sort of thing. It's not about that at all. It's all about offering a good service and getting what I want out of it, as well as customers getting what they want out of it.
Yeah. Have you got more like a handful of like real popular products that just sell like hotcakes compared to others?
Yeah, trying to keep up with lead times and making sure you stay ahead of them selling out can be hard, but again, getting used to that, it's all experience. We've got our tungsten putty is the absolute nuts without being biased. It just sticks to everything, and it molds so easy. And the price we sell it at with 20 grams worth is it's a bargain compared to some of the others out there that I would say don't work as well. We've got some hooks that sell really well. Our curved shanks are really popular. Our choddy hooks have become really popular, and our crank hooks have become really popular. Tungsten rig tubing, again, this is, like I said earlier, I really pride ourselves on our tungsten products because they are the absolute nuts. The rig tubing, again, is a really good price for 2 meters compared to the bigger brands, and it's the easiest tungsten tubing that I've ever used. And I used to use it all the time before I had Rigworx because I wasn't too keen on leaders because I wasn't fishing places necessarily that needed them all the time. So tungsten tubing, I just love the idea of pinning it down. But ours is, that goes out really quick with the putty. But I think we've got a good range of products, and the things like your size 8 swivels, they're sort of slow to sell because not as many people are using. I call them DIY lead clips, the old-fashioned lead clips of the size 8 swivel, the T-piece, and everything, which actually led us on to sell our own fused lead clips, sort of like the Corda hybrid ones. We've got our own lead clips, and they're selling really well. They've got a fused-in size 8 swivel with big ring, and we've actually got some quick change ones coming soon as well, and they're selling really well, and I've been really impressed with those. I tested them for at least a year before I released them.
Yeah. Oh, nice. And is that part of the team's job to just sort of rigorously test all the new kit?
Yeah. I mean, the people that are involved the most, they'll get the opportunity to because I won't go out there searching for people. I believe
Mhm.
if people show they're interested, they deserve to go and test it. So if someone comes to me and says, "Oh, when are you getting these in?" and I'll say, "Well, actually, it's in. I've got some samples here. You can actually test them if you like." Um,
Mhm.
and it goes from there really. And again, with our team, there are everyday people in there, and there are people that fish every other night. So the people that fish every other night are probably your best people to test
Mm.
the products that you want to release sooner.
Yeah.
And the people that are sort of like myself, family people, only get to fish maybe one day at the weekend and maybe the odd short session at night in the week.
Mm.
They'll get to test something that we'd like to take our time with. It's all situation dependent as well. Like certain hooks, you want someone to test them by snags and hook links, stuff like that, rather than someone who fishes open areas in a lake, sort of thing.
Mm.
But yeah,
Yeah, yeah. So you almost put them in like the extreme situation just to speed the testing process.
yeah. It's like the hook links we're testing at the moment. I've been rubbing them across a bit of wood on my barbecue at home, just testing the abrasion out of them as well as pull
Yeah,
testing them. All the tests, you've got to go to the extremes to be satisfied that you're not going to let someone down
yeah.
who's been waiting for a bite all Saturday. They get in
Mm.
their bag and then they've had a take, played the fish for half hour or 20 minutes, 15 minutes, whatever, and then all of a
Mm.
sudden the tackle lets them down. You wouldn't be happy, would you? So we've got to
No.
make sure that the quality is there and it's been tested properly before it goes out there.
Yeah, yeah. That's a really valid point. Yeah, and because you think it'd only take something like that to happen, and then it'd all just explode, and it'd all be over social media and everything else.
That's right. And the big three I've seen in particular, Corda have taken an absolute bashing for hook snapping just before they get to the
Right.
gape of the shank.
Yeah.
And Corda turn out hundreds of thousands of hooks every year in a massive industrial process. Something like that is bound to happen, even though it's not
Mm.
nice for the angler to know or experience. Um, so sometimes it's a bit unfair the criticism they take, but
Yeah.
whereas I'm a smaller company, I can take advantage of that. When I package people's orders, I can check every hook I can. And
Yeah.
again, the odd one that comes from the factory with like an eye slightly opened or something like that, or a
Mhm.
divot in the metal may slip through the net. But that's where customer service comes into play, and you need to offer a quick response, and it will always be replacing the whole pack, not just one hook, because at the end of the
Yeah.
day you need to look after your customers, and if you've made a mistake, you've made a mistake. But
Yeah.
I've
It's
I've never had a
God.
hook report of a hook snapping or bending or opening out or anything like that. We use a quick slightly thicker gauge,
Right.
um, which sometimes puts people off, but I think people have learned that thicker gauge doesn't mean anything apart from
Mm.
benefits. It benefits you in your angling. Um,
Yeah.
I think people are too concerned with what things look like in angling nowadays rather than its performance.
Yeah.
And that's exactly the problem with some sharpened hooks. People go to the extreme of getting a hook looking like a hair, and then
Mm.
they're surprised when it bends outwards while they're playing a fish and they lose a fish.
Yeah. That's a really valid point. Yeah, and it's weird, isn't it? It's sort of almost fashion over function for quite a few people these days, isn't it? It's strange.
100%. I call them your instant carp anglers
Mm.
that believe everything they see on a video rather than experience it. And there's
Yeah.
nothing wrong with getting into fishing, being a carp angler from the off. But
Mm.
I call them instant carp anglers, the ones that go by everything on a video. They'll turn up to a lake that's got a gravelly bottom, and they'll fire a helicopter rig 20 yards in front of them, something like that, not understanding the basics of it all. And then that you could have a guy in his 50s who's been fishing all his life just flick out a simple bolt rig and
Mm.
catch off a similar spot to you. Um,
Yeah.
and that without putting anyone down, I think that's where a lot of people get lost in the fashion of carp fishing rather than doing it for the passion sort of side of things,
Mm.
the actual interest of it. There is a problem in carp fishing. There always has been with people arguing, etc. And I think the biggest problem nowadays is people are too concerned with social media rather than enjoying it for what it is.
Yeah, that's similar to what Alfie was saying a few days ago. I think he's completely come off Instagram now.
Yeah, I mean, Alfie Russell's someone I admire.
Yeah.
His early videos of Nash, where Ollie Davies is following him around Hampstead Heath,
Mm.
you can tell the kid is an angler, out and out angler. That's exactly what I'm like. Even nowadays, I'll go down to my local river with a float after work for an hour on my way home,
Mm.
and I'll run up and down the river trying to catch some roach. It's
Mm.
just it doesn't matter what you're doing, the buzz is there. And I think
Mm-hmm.
Alfie Russell's exactly the same. You see him going for perch and what have you, like in the winter
Yeah.
months. He just absolutely loves it, and you can tell he's not even bothered by the camera being next to him. He's just there trying to do what he loves,
Mm-hmm.
and that's proper angling for me. That's someone who loves angling. Not, I wouldn't call it a sport. I'd say that's someone who loves their hobby and is absolutely
Yeah.
passionate about it, and is actually getting the rewards out of it they should be getting.
Yeah. No, it's really nice to see. And he's only young as well, isn't he?
Yeah, he's got a young family.
Mm.
He got a lot of stick because he's just a young lad coming out of London. But
Mm.
I think a lot of I haven't met him, but a lot of the people I know that have met him have said he's just a really nice bloke, just a nice young lad. Like he's just
Mm.
doing his own thing. He doesn't care about anyone else.
Yeah.
I think the fact that he's joined ESP sort of shows he is like a young version of Terry Hearn, sort of thing. He's
Yeah.
all about his angling. He absolutely loves it, and he's just got the skill set to go and do what he's set out to do, sort of thing.
Mm. Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, real nice lad. I got that impression. Obviously, I spoke to him quite a bit before we hit record, and he definitely came across as real nice, genuine, open. Yeah, really refreshing
Yeah.
to experience and to hear. In terms of Rigworx, what would you say has been your most satisfying moment to date?
Um, there's been a few, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like I said, I can't get out every weekend, but some of the lads have got not as much commitment as me. Like some of the younger lads, they've arranged their own
Mm.
socials. And when I went to see my mate
Mm-hmm.
Chris up at Twinersh, we had three lads: Gaz, Tyler, and Shane. And Shane's cousin, he's on Instagram. He's quite well known because he's one of the pioneering people in America, always really flying the flag for carp fishing in America. Tristan
Right.
is on Instagram, OG Carper. They
Oh yeah,
were,
yeah,
yeah, he used to be part of our team, but it got too expensive for him to pay for postage, even though he's getting the team discount on our stuff.
yeah.
It just didn't work out for him, which we understood, and he's sort of been buying bigger brands that are able to
Mm-hmm.
ship out there. But I went and
Yeah,
saw them at Fort Lee, and they were having a really good time. And knowing that they were representing Rigworx and having a good time, and they've all been brought together through Rigworx, it's
yeah.
really satisfying to see. So um, that was really good. And another time was Chris Rod, one of the bailiffs at the Wolf in Cardiff. He messaged me and asked me to come down and donate some prizes, and in return they'd give two of us 48 hours. And I couldn't pick
Right.
someone to come with me. Then we had about a team of 8 people. So I said to him, look,
Yeah,
could I get 8 people on? 2 people get the 48 hours free, like agreed, and the rest will pay whatever price you can. And to be fair, big shout out to Chris. He managed to get it sorted. Dan, one of the main people down the wharf, agreed to it, and they were really, really what's the word? They made us feel comfortable, like we were part of the club, sort of
accommodating.
thing.
Yeah,
Yeah, accommodating.
yeah,
Yeah, and we
yeah,
had a really good time at the wharf. Even though none of us caught, it sort of looked like something down the pier at a seaside. We all had the
yeah,
rods up over the bars, and we're all bivvied up next to each other. But we had a really good social that weekend, and
yeah. Brilliant. That's what a lot of the time. That's what it's about, isn't it? This has come up quite often on previous episodes. You remember the experience probably more than you do the captures, like
Yeah,
sharing with your friends.
yeah, that's it. Yeah, and I remember when I was younger, one of my dad's friends had a son. He was 2 years younger than me. I just remember the buzz. It didn't matter who caught. I just remember the buzz from both of us, and it was just sharing a passion with a good friend is something that
Yeah.
makes it a lot better. I find.
Hmm.
I think you still see that in videos nowadays. You take monster carp, for example.
Yeah.
It's not everyone's cup of tea, but you see the buzz they all share, and it's friendly
Mm.
competition between a lot. But whenever someone catches, they're all happy for each other, and I think that enhances the experience of your hobby if you've got someone to share it with who's a good friend.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm equally as happy taking pictures and being part of the moment when someone else catches one.
Yeah,
It's just because you can just feel that buzz, can't you? You can feel the excitement coming off them.
yeah, that's it. I mean, actually, I do remember one in early days. We had a lad from the Wirral near Liverpool. He was on our team,
Mm.
and he come down to Nash Lakes Royston, which isn't too
Mm.
far from me. So I said, "Look, I'll come see you, um, introduce yourself properly." And he
Mm.
had his cousin and a mate with him who were using some of our gear as well. And while we were there, his cousin had a run in the margin, and he had his first £20 carp, uh, and it was caught on our gear. And just seeing him unhooking the fish with the gear that we had sold to him, and the buzz he was getting out of holding this £20 for a picture, it just
Yeah.
I was like, it's like euphoria, really. That whole
Yeah.
Saturday, I just had that buzz in the back of my mind, and I thought sort of helping people make that buzz, even though it's not
Yeah.
really down to us. But to see our products being unhooked from that fish's mouth and the buzz he was getting from it, it was just, yeah, it was unreal.
Yeah. No, I bet. Yeah, it's like a. I suppose if you're there, it's like a double whammy, isn't it? You're getting to share the capture and knowing that it's on your kit. It must be quite a special feeling.
Yeah, and the picture of him holding the fish was brilliant. Wasn't like your serious Instagram pose. It was him with a big smile on his face, enjoying the
Mm.
moment. So, yeah, it was a
Yeah.
lovely moment to share with someone.
Yeah. Brilliant. That's nice, mate. If we can move on to the question. So, like, as you know, the rotary letter style.
Yeah,
Yours is from Rob Hughes,
yeah,
and it's sort of to do with watercraft, but it's more how on pressured waters, obviously, watercraft to an extent sort of goes out the window a bit
yeah,
because the fish don't sort of don't act as natural as they perhaps used to because they're forced around with the angling pressure. So his
yeah.
question was: do you think rigs and presentation now become more crucial than actual watercraft itself?
Um, yeah, I get where he's coming from there. I mean, if you go to your day ticket lakes, you'll find a lot of people trying to find out which swim is more productive because
Mm,
you're not going on watercraft, you're going on form. And I think
yeah.
rigs do play a massive part in that. I think one of the most versatile rigs you can use is a Ronnie rig, or something similar that sits that low to the lake bed, but also gives
Mm,
you that bit of attraction.
hmm.
Um, the two rigs I use, I always keep on me are Ronnie rigs and your simple blowback rigs. And
Right.
if I use a blowback rig, I always use a small topper for that visual attraction. I think if you get in an area with good form and that's what you're going on because you haven't seen anything or had any fish to cast to, I think if you've got something you trust and you believe in, which is very versatile to sit on any lake bottom,
Mm,
I think it all comes with experience as well. I think that does play a massive part in your fishing. Um, you imagine you've got like a silty bottom, you're going to use something that is perfectly balanced and present itself well. If you're fishing a weedy lake and you're going on a spot that fishes quite well, you'll want something that presents itself there. So I think, yeah, rigs do play a massive part in that,
mm,
and it is always situation dependent. Your lake bed, the weather, um, the form of the swim. Like I said, most people try and go on that nowadays. Uh,
yeah.
but you've also got to have that experience to use what rigs you think will be best, and you may have to be patient and wait it out. But I think good anglers will always get to the lake. If it's pressured, they'll do that, but they'll always get up in the morning, first thing, crack of dawn, and have a good look. Or at night, they'll be awake trying to listen to where the fish are and act on it if they can.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. And I think as well with the better stamp of anglers, they're quicker to react, aren't they, to change something if it needs to be changed, I've noticed.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's a really good answer, mate. Thank you. Have you got a question we can ask our next guest, please, Craig?
Yeah, it's probably quite a popular one that you see asked quite commonly on social media, but I think if someone answers it in their podcast, it'd be quite a bit fun. Would you prefer a fish above £50 abroad on a French fishing lake, for example, or would you prefer a scaly UK 30 from one of your lakes?
So a foreign 50 or a scaly 30. Nice, because that could potentially be quite a big answer as well, which is good.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, mate. Right, we'll wrap up there because it's getting on for just over 40 minutes. That's gone really quick, actually.
Yeah, it's flown by.
Yeah, no, thank you for doing that, Craig. I really appreciate it. One more thing before you go, can you draw me a carp in 60 seconds and then just send me the picture and the video?
No problem.
Yeah, we'll do a little competition at the end. Yeah, that'd be brilliant.
It will look absolutely horrific.
That's right, mate. That's fine.
No problem. Thanks for having us on.
All right, take care, mate.
All the best. Thank you.